In the quiet hours of a September night in 2020, the life of Maria Muñoz, a devoted mother and beloved member of her community, was abruptly ended. Her husband, Howell Pellot, a respected nurse anesthetist, claimed it was a tragic overdose. But as investigators delved deeper, a sinister narrative of manipulation, betrayal, and premeditated murder began to surface. This is the haunting story of how love turned lethal and how Maria's own diary became the key to unveiling the truth. Welcome back to Chilling Fireside Stories, where I tell true crime stories with the utmost care and respect for the victims and bearable for my community. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It truly helps me continue bringing these important stories to you. These cases deserve to be remembered. Now, settle in and let's begin. Maria Eugenia Muñoz was 31 years old, a woman with striking beauty. She grew up in Puerto Rico, surrounded by a tight-knit family, and when tragedy struck with the loss of her mother, Maria became even more devoted to her loved ones, stepping in to help her father care for her two younger siblings. Her kindness and dedication naturally led her to a career in nursing, a profession she adored. Helping people wasn't just her job, it was her passion. That same passion led her to Howell Pellot, a man 11 years her senior with dark hair, strong features, and a muscular build. He was ambitious, working toward a career in medicine, and their shared love for healthcare quickly bonded them. Maria and Howell's relationship blossomed, leading them to marriage in 2011. As the years passed, Howell's career advanced, and he finally secured his dream job as a certified registered nurse anesthetist, a role that not only fulfilled his ambitions, but came with an impressive paycheck. But there was a catch. The job wasn't in Puerto Rico, where Maria and Howell had built their lives. It was in Texas, 2,000 miles away from home. Leaving everything behind wouldn't be easy, but Maria made a choice. She would support her husband's dream no matter what it took. Maria left behind everything, her career, her family, and the only home she had ever known, to start a new life in Laredo, Texas. A growing city with nearly 260,000 residents, Laredo is known for its family-friendly environment, filled with parks, lakes, and thriving schools. Yet, like any city, it had its darker side, with crime rates, especially property-related offenses, higher than the national average. Still, Maria was optimistic. This was a fresh chapter, a new beginning with the man she loved, and she embraced it wholeheartedly. Soon, she and Howell welcomed their first child, Alejandro, and Maria made the difficult decision to put her nursing career on hold to be a stay-at-home mom. The transition was made easier by Howell's success. His new job provided financial stability, allowing Maria to fully devote herself to motherhood. She thrived in the role. From daily playground visits to bedtime stories, Maria created a warm and loving home, one filled with laughter, toys scattered across the floors, and her children's artwork proudly displayed on the walls. When their second son, Valentino, arrived in 2018, Maria felt complete. She cherished her boys, ensuring they had an active and engaging childhood. Outside of parenting, Maria found moments for herself, playing piano, catching up with friends, and maintaining their home. Howell's career continued to flourish, and the couple's financial success was reflected in their extravagant vacations, high-end cars, and luxury gifts. But as Howell became busier at work, Maria decided it was time for her own return to nursing. By the fall of 2020, she began making plans to go back to work, taking the necessary courses to recertify in Texas. She had always intended to return once her boys were old enough for school, and now she was ready. Howell supported her decision, but he craved excitement, often taking trips without his family, traveling alone as though he was searching for something beyond the life they had built together. From the outside, their life seemed stable, normal, even enviable. But everything changed in the early hours of September 22, 2020. At 1:30 a.m., a frantic call came through to emergency dispatch. Howell's voice trembled as he struggled to explain the situation.
There, 911, what's the address of emergency?
Hi, I called my wife on her phone, please.
She's not breathing. She may have taken some pills.
Okay, what is your address?
Is somebody coming?
His words were scattered, panicked. He mentioned pills, depression, and uncertainty about what had happened. Moments later, paramedics rushed to their home. Howell, still in his hospital scrubs, looked distraught as he hovered over Maria, desperately trying to revive her. Alejandro and Valentino, blissfully unaware, slept soundly in their rooms, oblivious to the chaos gripping their home. Maria lay motionless on the floor. She was still warm, still faintly responsive.
What did she take?
I think clonazepam. She's been pretty depressed lately.
Maria still had a pulse, but barely. The responding officer clung to the hope that she could be revived. Desperate for answers, he turned to Howell. Did she take anything? Howell rushed to the bathroom, returning with a bottle of a powerful prescription medication for anxiety and seizures. Strangely, the prescription wasn't Maria's. It was his. This detail unsettled the officer. If Maria had taken the pills, why had she turned to medication that wasn't even hers? Was something troubling her enough to make her act impulsively? Howell admitted Maria had been depressed lately, but he insisted she had never shown signs of wanting to end her life. As CPR continued, Maria's condition deteriorated rapidly. The EMTs refused to give up, but the house was becoming overcrowded with officers, medics, and Howell himself. To clear space, they sent him downstairs. Yet the moment he left, something bizarre happened. The pill bottle disappeared. It had been right there in the officer's sight, and now it was gone. When asked about it, nobody seemed to know what he was talking about, until the officer shouted to Howell downstairs. Within seconds, Howell reappeared and tossed the bottle toward him. It didn't sit right. Why was he worried about hiding the pills when his wife was dying? Anxiety? Guilt? Fear of blame? Whatever the reason, the officer knew something wasn't adding up. Maria fought for her life for hours, but in the end, there was nothing the EMTs could do. At 3:58 a.m., she was pronounced dead. With Maria gone, attention turned to Howell, his strange behavior, his hurried attempt to conceal the pills, and his uneasy demeanor raised more questions than answers. The detectives needed details.
We had I took a shower. Then I thought she was like knocked out. And then I go back upstairs and then she just...
Sitting him down in the kitchen, they pressed him for the truth. Something was off. Howell was drenched in sweat, far too much for a mild Texas night. His lightweight scrubs shouldn't have made him this overheated. Was it the heat or his nerves? Then, the inconsistencies started stacking up. Howell detailed his final moments with Maria. He said they'd been intimate, that he'd showered, and then found her passed out on the bed. His emotions swelled as he recalled carrying her into the hallway to perform CPR. But something felt off. If Howell had just showered, why was he still wearing scrubs when the police arrived? If he had undressed beforehand, why was his gold chain still around his neck? Had he slept in it? Had he showered with it? The details didn't quite add up. The detectives needed to dig deeper. Was this truly an overdose? Or was something far more sinister at play? Their next step? A full search of the house. But then came another twist. Howell refused. His resistance to the search only deepened suspicions. Why wouldn't he want answers? His wife, the mother of his children, was gone, yet he was more concerned about his privacy than uncovering the truth. After tense back and forth, he relented. As officers combed through the house, Alejandro and Valentino woke up to the commotion. Thankfully, they were quickly placed in the care of close friends, shielding them from the chaos unfolding. The search yielded disturbing discoveries: syringes for equipment, a needle catheter on the staircase, and a syringe wrapper left on the floor. While these were tools of Howell's trade as a CRNA, their presence in the home raised eyebrows. Why would a nurse anesthetist keep hospital-grade equipment at home? Then came another glaring inconsistency: the shower bone dry. Howell had claimed to have just stepped out of it before finding Maria unresponsive. Yet there was no dampness on the walls, no moisture on the bottles, no lingering humidity, a detail that contradicted his timeline completely. Back at the station, Howell sat in the interrogation room, masked due to the pandemic, but it wasn't his grief that unsettled detectives. It was his erratic behavior. He wasn't mourning. He was raging. He shoved furniture. He yelled. He made a spectacle, an outburst that felt more theatrical than genuine. Finally, detectives entered the room, pushing him for the truth. But Howell offered nothing. His responses were scattered, disjointed, his memory conveniently foggy.
Is it possible that she swallowed them all? How many pills were there before?
I don't know.
Más o menos. What was the time period between the time you got out of the shower to when you noticed, hey, she's not really responding anymore?
10 minutes? Not 100% sure.
Why would there be syringes in the house?
So, I don't know.
But then his story changed. I was using them for steroids. A convenient explanation, but was it believable? Then came the biggest revelation yet. Detectives uncovered Maria's diary, and what it revealed was devastating. It painted a marriage far different from the happy life Howell had portrayed to the world. According to her diary, in 2018, Howell had betrayed Maria, starting an affair with a woman named Janet, a surgical nurse.
How long have you been with Jeanette?
About 2 years.
Out of those 2 years, how long has Maria known about it?
For a while. For a long while.
Maria had suspected something for a long time, but with a newborn and toddler to care for, she had tried to push aside her suspicions, until the truth became impossible to ignore. Howell had begun erasing Maria and the kids from his social media, deleting all traces of them. He made himself look like a single, wealthy bachelor, living a life free of responsibility. Then, Maria discovered the final betrayal, plane tickets to Europe. Not for her. Not for them. For Howell and Janet. Maria's world shattered. 8 years of marriage, 2 children, and a life built on lies. She felt lost, hopeless, trapped in a country far from home, with no family nearby to support her. She turned to journaling, to prayer, to antidepressants, searching for a way out of the pain. Her diary entries revealed the depth of her heartbreak. My heart says one thing, my mind says something else. I am in this constant battle, a tug of war. I wanted to stop. She had fought so hard to save her marriage. And now she was gone. Maria's diary wasn't just a journal, it was a window into her pain. Her words were raw, heartbreaking pleas for peace and happiness. Above all, her prayers to God reflected a deep faith, a belief that somehow her marriage could be restored. But as detectives read deeper, the truth became undeniable. Maria had been trapped in a cycle of suffering. Just weeks before her death, she wrote, "So much pain, so much heartache, nothing has changed. It keeps getting worse. My kids are hurting. I don't know what will happen next. Please God, I beg you, make my situation change. I can't anymore. I swear." She had spent years clinging to hope, believing that one day things would get better. Howell wasn't just her husband. He was her family, the man she refused to let go of despite knowing about his double life. Behind closed doors, everything was crumbling. When detectives confronted Howell about his infidelity, he admitted the truth, that he had cheated on Maria, that he was still seeing Janet, the same woman he had been involved with for 2 years, and that he and Janet had been living together for 5 months, and on top of everything else, Maria knew everything. Even after discovering the affair, Maria held on to hope, believing they could repair their marriage. At one point, they even took a trip together, seemingly rekindling their bond. But when they returned, Howell fell back into old habits. He knew she wouldn't leave. She loved him too much. Detectives turned their attention to Janet, bringing her in for questioning. She had met Howell knowing he was married, but had pursued him anyway. Her relationship with him wasn't new, but what did she know about Maria's death?
What is your relationship with him? I wouldn't have called you at 6:30 in the morning if it was just for being nosy. It's not that I'm trying to be nosy, but I'll get to where I'm going.
He's my boyfriend.
The reason that I'm here is because last night, Howell's wife passed away. There doesn't appear to be right now any type of foul play. We're still pending an autopsy. So let's get with, how did you and Howell even start dating?
I'm sorry.
I understand. Take your time. I know it's all kind of thrown at you, so, you know, I told you at the very beginning I'm going to be honest with you, so I am. Our main thing now is, obviously, is what happened.
I'm sorry, what was your question?
How long have you and Howell been dating?
Almost 2 years now.
Okay. Did Maria, his wife, did she do drugs?
No, he just told me that she was very depressed. Okay. Are you saying she overdosed?
We don't know yet. The main thing is this, Janet, is when we tell her family, they're going to think that either Joel killed her or that you had something to do with it. That's why we have to rule you out. Okay. Has Joel ever confided in you that he wanted to do something to his wife?
No.
Howell and Janet had seriously discussed marriage, building a future together as if Maria didn't exist. No divorce. No attempt to end things properly. Just lies, deception, and a life built on betrayal. But then, the world shifted. Maria was gone, and Janet was shocked. Her death was beyond comprehension, something Janet never saw coming. But was she mourning? Or was she feeling guilty? After all, she had been sleeping with Maria's husband for 2 years, and now, suddenly, Maria was no longer here. When questioned, Janet told police she hadn't seen Howell the night Maria died. She claimed he had picked up an extra shift at work, something common in the medical field, and so she hadn't thought twice about it. Detectives let her go, but their investigation was far from over. They turned to Maria's friends, hoping to uncover what had been happening in the days leading up to her death. That's when a major revelation emerged. Just days before Maria died, something big had happened. On Saturday, Maria had been driving past Janet's house when she saw Howell's car parked out front. Whether she was checking or simply passing through, Maria stopped the car. She walked to the door, and when Howell answered, she gave him an ultimatum. Choose, me or her. And he chose Janet. But strangely, he still left with Maria. Janet, seemingly unnerved, called the police, though Maria had done nothing aggressive. When officers arrived too late to intervene, they called Maria to check on her. Whatever had happened in that house, it had rattled Howell. He lashed out, punching the windshield of his car, screaming in frustration. This wasn't new. Maria had even secretly recorded him once, capturing the way he exploded when she tried to confront him.
I want to know, what is it that you want me to do? What the expectations you have on this marriage? Walk out that door, we're getting a divorce.
All right, fine. Got it.
By Sunday morning, Maria had had enough. She messaged Howell, telling him they needed to hire a divorce lawyer. He agreed, but didn't want to pay for one. We can do this with minimal lawyer involvement. It's too much money. Then, suddenly, his entire demeanor shifted. At 1 a.m. on Monday, Howell emailed Maria. I'm hurting inside. I'm so sad. After years of shutting her out, now he wanted a heart-to-heart. Maria, still hoping for reconciliation, agreed. She messaged a friend, asking for prayers, pleading for God's will to be done during their conversation. Just hours after that meeting, Maria was dead. Her funeral was held at the First Baptist Church of Laredo, where family and friends gathered to mourn her loss. And Howell was there, crying from start to finish. At one point, he approached Maria's casket, sobbing, kissing her face, acting every bit the grieving husband. But police weren't convinced. They knew an autopsy had been performed, and when the results came in, they changed everything. There was no residue from pills in her system. Yet Howell had insisted she had overdosed. He had even shown the first responders the pill bottle, presenting the supposed evidence. But now detectives had to ask, had he lied from the very beginning? The autopsy didn't lie. And what it revealed was far more sinister than anyone had expected. Maria had no alcohol, no substances, and most importantly, no traces of prescribed pills that he claimed she overdosed on. Instead, Another alarming discovery emerged, a reddish-purple mark, right on a vein in her arm, the kind left behind after an injection. Maria hadn't swallowed a lethal dose of pills. She had been injected. The findings sent shockwaves through the investigation, raising the most chilling question yet. Did she inject herself? Or had someone else done it for her? When Howell's boss, an anesthesiologist, heard about Maria's autopsy results, he knew something was off. The drugs in her system weren't typical medications, and they weren't easy to obtain. The police ordered a thorough toxicology report, and when it finally came back months later, the results changed everything. Maria's system contained a cocktail of powerful medicines. And the most damning piece of evidence? Not a single trace of clonazepam, the exact medicine Howell had claimed she took. And one fact was undeniable. Howell injected people every day. This was his job. Police now had a chilling theory. They believed that Howell had slipped a sedative into Maria's drink, causing her to lose consciousness. Once she was helpless, he used N4 to inject her with a fatal dose of anesthesia and painkillers. Then he waited until she was too far gone. Only after she had passed the point of no return, he dialed 911, acting like a desperate husband trying to save his wife. The timing was perfect. They had planned to meet, giving him the perfect excuse to offer Maria a drink before their conversation. She wouldn't have questioned it. She trusted him. She had always trusted him. When the toxicology report came back, it was the smoking gun detectives needed. Howell was officially arrested in January 2021. When police found him, he was with friends, but he surrendered peacefully. The charges? Maria's murder and tampering with evidence. His bail was set at $200,000. Maria's family was shattered. They had never been told that police were investigating her death as a homicide. Her sister, Marisol, had truly believed Maria had taken her own life. She never imagined that her own husband would be suspected of murder. I did not think he was guilty, but I thought their situation had led her to it. He made her suffer for 2 years. But he never let her go. Every time she tried, he pulled her back, telling her he loved her, that he could bring back the passion. He manipulated her. She told me, "I can't leave him, because he loves me." Maria had spent years fighting for a love that didn't exist. She had been controlled, manipulated, and broken down. And in the end, it cost her everything. Maria had been planning her escape. She had asked Marisol to buy her a ticket back to Puerto Rico, a move that proved she wasn't looking to end her life. She was searching for a fresh start. She had imagined raising her boys near family, surrounding them with love and support, rebuilding the life she had lost in Texas. And just one day before her death, Maria had reached out to a divorce lawyer, taking concrete steps to finally free herself from Howell. It had likely been the fight at Janet's house, the breaking point, that pushed her to finally let go. But Howell wasn't letting her go that easily. Marisol shared another disturbing detail. After Maria's death, Howell pushed for her to be cremated. Had he been hoping that if Maria's body was destroyed quickly enough, an autopsy and toxicology report could never be done? Unfortunately for him, the autopsy was completed first, and its findings changed everything. Detectives turned their attention back to Janet, suspecting she might know more than she was letting on. Janet returned to the station with her lawyers, ready to protect herself, but what she admitted next shocked investigators.
Tell you that he injected her because she was erratic?
Right. He wanted to just calm her down. So he did it with medication.
She revealed that just after speaking to police the first time, Howell had asked her to delete surveillance footage from her home, specifically footage from the night of September 21st and the morning of September 22nd, the exact time frame of Maria's death. The footage was gone. No one would ever know what was captured, what Howell had been doing, what he had been carrying, or where he had gone that night. But Janet didn't stop there. She told police that Howell regularly stole drugs from the hospital, bringing them to her house for recreational use. Together, they had injected 4 anesthetics, dangerously misusing powerful medical drugs. Then came the most damning revelation yet. Janet admitted that Howell had told her he injected Maria. She claimed he had done it to calm her down, saying she had been acting erratically. He even confessed to pulling the forecatheter out of Maria's arm before police arrived, effectively destroying key evidence.
Did you play any role in Maria's death at all? You.
Janet insisted she had no involvement in Maria's death, but was she telling the truth, or simply protecting herself? Either way, the information she provided was enough for prosecutors to strike a deal. Janet was granted immunity in exchange for testifying against Howell at trial. She accepted the deal without hesitation. Howell, meanwhile, posted bail, walking free with an ankle monitor while awaiting trial. It took 2 years, but on March 20th, 2023, the trial finally began. And it was intense. The prosecution painted Howell as a man desperate to escape his marriage, a man who saw no other way out but to kill Maria.
Did Mr. Pellot indicate to you that he dumped or discarded the iron catheter and the vial?
Yes.
I tried to bring her back to life, and it wasn't the paramedics, it wasn't the police, it was Howell. So he did not want her dead. This was a terrible accident.
The defense claimed both Maria and Howell both used substances and that Maria had voluntarily overdosed that night. According to their argument, the mark on Maria's arm wasn't evidence of murder. It was proof that Howell had tried to save her, injecting Narcan to reverse the overdose. It was a battle between two drastically different narratives, premeditated murder or tragic accident. The jury heard Maria's own words, excerpts from her diary, written in the weeks leading up to her death, revealing the pain, despair, and betrayal she endured. They watched body cam footage of Howell giving Maria CPR. And that's when something strange happened. For the first time in 3 years, Howell cried in public. He had shown no emotion throughout the investigation, no grief, no sorrow. Now, when the evidence was in front of the jury, when his fate was hanging in the balance, he broke down. Was it remorse? Or was it performance? Then came a chilling witness testimony. One of Howell's co-workers, Luis, stepped forward, revealing that Howell had complained about his marriage, calling it a burden. Howell had even admitted that he didn't want to get a divorce because of the financial strain of child support. On the final day of the trial, Howell's mother, Miriam, took the stand, defending her son with unwavering loyalty. She had acted as his personal assistant while he was in jail, helping him pay old bills, sending him money for medication, making sure he had everything he needed. Her belief was clear: Howell was innocent. Miriam had known about the affair. She had even urged Howell and Maria to fix their marriage 2 years before her death. But the idea that her own son could be a killer? That she refused to believe. Even when faced with the facts, the deleted Facebook posts, the erased surveillance footage, the toxicology report, she remained firm in her denial. Finally, after 8 days of testimony, the jury reached a verdict in less than 2 hours: guilty. Howell was sentenced to life in prison. Maria's family, shattered yet vindicated, spoke to reporters after the trial. My world stopped completely. I felt that I had died with her. For 2 years and 6 months, we have been grieving. We are still in pain. They understood that Howell's family was now grappling with a different kind of loss, but nothing compared to losing Maria forever. Today, Howell remains behind bars, serving his life sentence at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. But what became of Alejandro and Valentino? There were no updates on Maria's young sons, but hopefully, they're surrounded by love and support, cared for by family who will never let them feel alone. And what happened to Janet? She vanished from the spotlight. She and Howell were no longer together, but I wonder if she's still working as a nurse. Did she actively hide evidence, or was she simply Howell's pawn, a woman who had followed his instructions until she was backed into a corner? One theory suggested Howell had been slipping drugs into Maria's drinks for months, psychological torture, slowly breaking her down until she was too weak to fight back. It wasn't just control he wanted, it was power. Power over Maria's emotions, her body, her choices, her life itself. She had never truly been free, not even in the moments leading up to her death. What do you think of Maria's tragic story? Leave your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for joining me in uncovering the truth behind Maria Muñoz's tragic death. Your support in sharing these stories helps raise awareness and honor the victims. If you or someone you know is going through the same experience, seek help, speak up, and know that you are not alone. Until my next video, stay safe and look after your loved ones.